In today's video, we're going to review this beautiful Mountain Warehouse waterproof. It is the Mountain Warehouse Ultra Atlas waterproof, which I own in this really nice bright orange. Now, according to the Mountain Warehouse website, the RRP is £259.99, but you'll find it online today, as of January 2024, for £179.99. Now, I actually paid £32 for it, including postage, off of eBay. And that was for the jacket, brand new, original tags, still sealed in its original factory bag. So we'll return to that later, because I've got a secret to share about how I get some really good gear for not a lot of money. It is a fairly hefty jacket. It's 3 layers with a 20,000mm hydrostatic head and 4,000mm of breathability. It has waterproof zips and it has underarm venting zips, which are quite big and generous, and they're not too difficult to unzip and zip up as you need to when you walk in. I've owned the jacket now for just over 6 months. It's been through quite a few long walks, and it's had a couple of tests in really good, persistent, heavy rain. And the quality, fit, feel and finish is really, really good. I have managed to test it like I do all my waterproofs, with a local walk of around 6 miles in heavy, persistent rain. So I've done that with quite a few waterproof jackets now, with vastly different results. My Rab downpour feels like a sieve, wetted out very quickly, got absolutely soaked. I had quite an expensive Columbia waterproof jacket, part of their titanium range. That failed as well. That has a waterproof zip, supposedly, but it's got no back into it. So about 4 miles in, I suddenly felt a huge cold rush of water pouring straight down through the zip. It's probably one of the worst failures I've ever had on a waterproof coat. Sometimes they wet out and you get damp, but I've never had water like pouring in that before. With this jacket, what I did is I did the 6 miles. I kept one pocket completely zipped up. The other pocket I was opening and closing because I was taking my little waterproof camera out to do some filming, which I've stuck some clips in of that now. And I do that because I want to test whether the pockets are actually waterproof, and no, they're not. Obviously the one I was opening and closing had a nice big puddle in the bottom, but even the one that was completely zipped shut as high as I could get it throughout had water ingress, and because of the nature of waterproof coats and pockets, water just pools up at the bottom. So a failure of the waterproof pockets, absolutely a failure of those zips to keep the rain out, but I would say almost every single waterproof jacket I own, no matter how expensive or how Gore-Tex they are, the pockets always leak. So I always take little waterproof zip bags or fold bags to put any valuables in, because you should never trust waterproof pockets on a jacket. In terms of the hood, it's not the most all-encompassing hood I've ever used. It does stay on pretty well in high winds and does pretty well to keep rain out. But if you look at the sides, you'll see it could offer a bit more protection from the sides. So if you've got rain driving sideways into you, you are going to get a bit of water ingress, and you might want to wear maybe a peaked cap just to give you a bit of extra protection in that rain. But over my 6 miles of heavy rain and a bit of wind, apart from the pockets leaking, the jacket was absolutely waterproof, which is definitely a better performance than I've had from some other quite big brand names waterproofs I've tried over the same trail. Another bonus on that walk is that I had the ventilation zips completely unzipped the whole walk. I didn't get any water ingress through there. So there's enough jacket to protect your underarms and keep you dry, but still allow you to vent out that heat. Because despite any claims of breathability on most waterproof jackets, I find you're always going to get hot and sweaty unless you're walking in very cold, rainy conditions. It's just part of being in the UK, and we live in a very humid climate. So waterproof jackets are always fighting that battle to keep the rain from the outside, but you're not getting just as soaking wet through build up of humidity in the jacket. So I said we'd return to price during the video, and I think really need to have a little bit of discussion about Mountain Warehouse in general. If you're ever on social media and you see Mountain Warehouse put out some content, you'll often find quite a few snobby comments in the comment section from some people in the outdoor community who really don't rate their gear at all. And I wonder if this is partly caused by the Mountain Warehouse approach to retail, which is the kind of permanent discount. You'll often walk past stores that are closing down, having massive closing down sales, but the store never actually closes down. And if you're someone who goes in there regularly, you might realise actually the sale prices are actually pretty standard. So all the RRP prices, including on this jacket, seem just to be a kind of misnomer really, and they're just set artificially high and then they're permanently discounted. So if you're a casual outdoor person and you pop into Mountain Warehouse, you might think you're getting an absolute bargain because it's on sale, whereas actually it's almost always available at that discounted price. Personally, I'm not a fan of this kind of retail. It obviously must work because they're not the only brand that do it. Obviously Go Outdoors with all their own brands. They have the permanent sales as well. On their tent level bits of equipment, they have this ridiculous RRP price, and then they have this sort of artificial sale price as well. So I guess it must work, but I just think it actually hides away from the fact that Mountain Warehouse do make some really good gear. In terms of quality Mountain Warehouse gear, they do have two better ranges. So their step up from normal clothes and outdoor gear is their extreme range. So this offers a lot more technical features and ability, and I've owned quite a few bits of extreme gear over the last couple of years. And then this jacket and a few other items are in their ultra range, so it's the very best stuff that they do. And in terms of Mountain Warehouse snobbery, what you'll notice is the more expensive the gear you buy from Mountain Warehouse, the less branded it is. There is no branding on this jacket. You will not know this is from Mountain Warehouse. So if I'm up a mountain with loads of people in their Rab and other expensive jackets and coats, they will look at this jacket and they think that's a nice bit of kit because it looks very well made. It is very well made, very technical, all the right features and stuff. But it has absolutely zero Mountain Warehouse branding. And you'll find that on most of their ultra gear. Now obviously if you're still watching, it's because you're interested in the Mountain Warehouse Atlas waterproof jacket, and you want to find out as much as you can about it before you go ahead and bite the bullet and buy it. Or you clicked on the video, you heard me say I got this jacket for £32, brand new, original factory wrapping, tags, all that kind of stuff, and I said I'd reveal my secret towards the end of the video as to how I got it. So the secret is this: because of the various factors I've listed, the kind of almost permanent closing down sales, the almost permanent discounts, these kind of unrealistic pricing and kind of dodgy sales stuff, Mountain Warehouse doesn't have a great reputation. But as I've said, extreme stuff from their extreme ranges and the ultra ranges, in my experience with the stuff I've owned so far, is really good quality stuff. But people don't really rate it. So you'll often find stuff like this for sale, brand new or nearly new, for very little money on eBay. The boots I'm wearing now, the Mountain Warehouse Extreme waterproof storm boots, I got them off eBay, absolutely brand new, never worn, for 13 quid. That's 13 pounds, including postage. And they're a great pair of boots. I've done about 150 miles in them so far, all sorts of different conditions and very, very wet, boggy mountain walks and stuff. And they're as good as my Solomons, they really are. And you'll see extreme boots and other gear pop up on eBay for very little money all the time. And exactly the same applies to the Ultra range. So this is my second Ultra waterproof from Mountain Warehouse. I got a different one, a bit of a lighter weight one, and a bit more compact, packs away a bit smaller, but still a really, really nice quality bit of gear. And I paid, again, brand new, less than 30 quid for that online. So all you need to do is occasionally search like Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, for Mountain Warehouse Extreme or Mountain Warehouse Ultra, and you can do the same on eBay. So if I'm on eBay, I'll do the search for Extreme or Ultra, and then I'll just sort by cheapest items first, and then the first 20 items will often be fairly cheap, and you can watch those auctions, or sometimes they're even cheap as a buy it now. This jacket, for example, was a buy it now deal, and the seller had several of them, and it retails 180 quid. I would say if you paid 180 quid for it, you'd be reasonably pleased. Obviously at that kind of price range, you're going up against some big name brands who've got waterproofs in that kind of bracket. But really, I've owned a lot of gear, I use a lot of gear. I walked 1,300 miles last year. This feels a really good jacket. It really does feel well made. The fit, the finish, the comfort, all of the features, the big pockets, all that kind of stuff. It's all exactly what I want from a waterproof jacket. So I wouldn't rush out and spend 180 quid in it, because I hate spending money on gear, really, if I can avoid it, which is why most of the gear I buy is kind of used or new from other selling platforms. But if you can get this for £100 or less, I think you are getting a really, really, really good jacket for that money. So there you have it. People don't take mountain wearers seriously, so there are some serious bargains to be had on various selling websites. And the good thing is, even if you are a gear snob, just buy their ultra range and no one's going to know, because there's no branding at all on their ultra range gear. And if you are just someone who's interested in the Mountain Warehouse Atlas waterproof jacket, yeah, it is a really good piece of gear. If there are a genuine sale on in Mountain Warehouse and it hits like the 140 or below mark, yeah, it's a good bit of gear. I'm not sure what you get for similar money that would be as good and as robust as this jacket, but obviously people will always pop in the comments any alternatives at that price range that they recommend. I hope the video has been of some use. Obviously I pay for this jacket myself. I'm under no endorsement or any kind of promotional thing from Mountain Warehouse, just my honest views based on my extensive hiking and use of outdoor gear. So if it was helpful, drop the videos a thumbs up and maybe think about watching the next one, and I'll see you there.